If you need any Xbox or PlayStation codes or any cheap PC games, use the referral link in the description. It will take you over to g2a.com. They already have a discount on most of their goods, and if you use the code CHES at checkout, you can get yourself an extra 3% off as well. Hey guys, how's it going? Ches back again, and welcome to the fourth instalment of this little mini-series we're doing, looking at the transfer budgets from some of the bigger leagues in career mode. We've previously looked at La Liga, which went up earlier on today. There'll be a link to it in the bottom left of your screen. There's also gone up the Bundesliga and the Barclays Premier League yesterday. So check the channel page for those or any of the videos you've missed over the past few days, whether it be this series, this little mini-series, or the My Player, or the Wolfsburg career mode series, which goes up again tonight, or the My Player, which went up earlier on this afternoon. So much content going up on the channel right now. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Drop the video a like if you enjoy, and we'll jump in to the Serie A. We'll see, and we'll have a look-see at what some of the budgets are like for this particular league. We've had a look at three of the biggest leagues in Europe, and now we're having a look at another one. We start with Atalanta. Only a £4.9 million budget, but they did finish one place above the relegation zone last year, so you can kind of understand why they've only got a tiny budget. Again, as was the case with the other three, in comparison to the Barclays Premier League, transfer budget's not quite as high because obviously the BPL has had an influx of television money over the past season or so. So some smaller budgets in the Bundesliga, La Liga, and now in Serie A as well. Atalanta, they're relying on the pace of Morales and just the finishing ability of Dennis, the Argentinian striker, who's not the fastest, but he does have a very, very strong left foot. So they're going to be your two most offensive players. Palette's a decent centre-back, although I think he's getting on a little bit now. I'm not too sure, but I think he's ageing slightly. But £5 million, you could do something with that. Maybe fiddle with the budget slightly with wages, etc. Bologna have a slightly larger budget. They were able to come away last year with... actually, did they get promoted? They did. They got promoted out of Serie B. They finished fourth and came up via the playoffs in Serie B. They've got Miranti in goal. He used to be at Parma, obviously. They've got Destro up top as a striker. I presume he's on loan still from, is it from Roma? Was he... Roma, or was it Juventus? I can't remember now off the top of my head. But Destro's a decent striker. Giaccherini, you remember that name from... obviously Sunderland, and Safir Taider is the Algerian that was at Inter Milan and is now at Bologna. So moving on, we've got Carpi. They were somehow able to come home with the Serie B championship last year. They're such a small side, similar to Eibar in La Liga that we covered earlier on this morning. Carpi is such a tiny side. That's why they've got a ridiculously small budget, and the overalls of their players just are not that good whatsoever. I'll be honest, I know nothing about Carpi other than they are an extremely small club, as were, in comparison with Eibar, making the same comparison with the English leagues, probably would be in the lower end of League Two or in the National Conference if they were in the BPL. Or not in the BPL, if they were in the English leagues. The overalls are slightly higher, and you'd say you'd put them in the Championship, but the size of the club as a whole, with like stadium and resources, etc., you put them in the definite fourth or fifth tier in England. Moving on, we've got Chievo Verona. They were able to come away with, if I switch back to Serie A on the screen in front of me, they were able to come away with a 14th place finish, finishing one behind the other side in Verona, Hellas. Only a £3.3 million budget for them, but they do have decent strikers in Pelissier and Pelossi. Pelossi's a good prospect as well. Hetemai is a decent midfielder, obviously the Finnish winger, and then Radovanovic is actually okay as well, although I don't know too much about the rest of the side, other than obviously, as you'll recognise, Gambarini. That's a name that's stuck in people's minds from Ultimate Team over the past few years, but he's had a bit more of a downgrade this year again, so might not be as effective as he was, say, on FIFA 12, etc. Moving on, we've got Empoli, another smaller side. They finished 15th last year, started the season on fire. Unfortunately, they weren't able to keep it up for the rest of the year and ended up tumbling down the table, but stayed up about 5 to 10 points ahead of the relegation zone, somewhere between there. Only a £2.4 million budget, and as you can see from the overall, not a very strong side either. Need a lot of work, and you'll have to maybe try and sell on the best players. I'm not sure. You might have to rely on free agents and loan players at somewhere like Empoli. Fiorentina, on the other hand, were able to finish fourth in Serie A last year, although mainly thanks to the goals of Mario Gomez, who they let go, and the creativity of Juan Cuadrado, who they let go. But they've brought in Mario Suarez at centre mid. He was obviously part of the deal that saw Stefan Savic move from Fiorentina to Atletico Madrid. So they've weakened up top and they've weakened at the back. They brought in Blazikowski, as you can see from Borussia Dortmund, and obviously kept players such as Astori at the back. But I don't know. I don't know what Serie A can do this year. Having sold their best players and bought in average replacements, I don't know. Although you've got £14 million to spend, so you could probably do something at Fiorentina this year. Frosinone, they came up via promotion from Serie B as well. They finished second in the league and got automatic promotion. Again, another tiny club, only £1.3 million budget, only a 3-star side. And I'll be honest, I know absolutely nothing about them, unfortunately. So we will swiftly move on to Genoa, a side that have been okay in recent years. They finished 6th last year, which is actually very solid considering the amount of Milan sides that they finished above, and Torino had a solid season the year before last. But £8.5 million budget for them is decent. They've got Diego Capel and obviously Diego Perotti there as wingers. Goran Pandev as well. He's obviously been about a bit in recent years. And Gakpe is an okay winger. I think he's quite fast, Gakpe, although I'm not too sure. It is Nicolas Badiso at centre-back as well, formerly of Roma, obviously the Argentinian centre-back, and they do still have Mattia Perran in goal as well. So there's a decent squad and enough to improve it if you would like to, although pushing for a Europa League spot again might be a little bit out of reach unless obviously you're a skilled player. £3.8 million is the budget for Hellas Verona. We mentioned they finished one above Chievo rivals and they finished 13th last year, Hellas Verona. Luca Toni was banging in the goals for them last year again, and you would presume he's going to do the same. He's not as old as Luca Toni, but he is still pushing the 30s. Pazzini up top alongside him. Romulo is a decent midfielder, and other than that, I can't say as I know too much about the rest of the squad. I believe Raphael, the goalkeeper, is the Raphael that used to be at Napoli, although I might be mistaken, and if I am, feel free to correct me in the comments. Inter Milan, on the other hand, have been very active in the transfer window just gone. Bought in Miranda, I think on the game he's on loan, but in real life it's a permanent move. Jason Murillo as well, they brought him in from Granada. They've obviously brought in Kondogbia as well. Jovetic has come in from Man City. They've still got 27 million to spend as well. Another player not in that starting lineup is Ivan Perisic as well. They brought him in from Wolfsburg. So they've got such a good squad this year. Inter. They finished 8th last season. No European football for Inter Milan. And so you could solidly focus on Serie A and really push, maybe even for a title. I don't know. They've definitely got the squad for it. Obviously, I did a series as Inter last year, and we did win the Serie A title in that particular series. So it definitely can be done. And with a decent budget as well, you could really improve even further. Really good side, Inter Milan, now these days with those new signings they've made. Could be a very entertaining series to do. Juventus have obviously won, is it 4 now straight Scudettos in Serie A? And obviously still the strongest side in the league. They've kept hold of Pogba. They've lost Vidal. They've lost Pirlo. But they have still got players like Chiellini and Buffon and Pogba. They've brought in Mario Mandzukic after losing Carlos Tevez. Alvaro Morata has had a decent upgrade this year as well. So he should be brilliant right from the off, rather than you needing to actually make him grow slightly before he actually becomes a decent player. And with a £43 million budget as well, really strong side. And also Hernandez there as well, I've just noticed and remembered. He came in from Inter Milan for, I can't remember what the fee was now, but really strong side at Juve again, and 43 million to spend. Will be a solid side to play with. Lazio finished 3rd in Serie A last year, and they've improved this window as well. As you can see, they've got Ricardo Kish now. You'll remember him from the Career Mode Road to Glory series we did last year with Cambridge. He's got 5-star skills this year. He's 75 to start off with, rather than being a silver in Ultimate Team terms. And they've still got Marchetti in between the sticks, so a decent goalkeeper. Radu's a solid left back. Really good potential at Lazio. Still got Miroslav Klose, I believe. I might be mistaken. I think Klose is still there. He may have moved on again. If I am wrong, feel free to correct me in the comment section. They were only 1 point off second in Serie A last year, but with a £12.5 million budget, you'd have thought they'd have had a bigger one, considering how they did last year. But £12.5 million is what you'll have to spend at Lazio. Slightly more than that at AC Milan, £29 million you'll have to spend there. They've obviously strengthened a lot this window as well, similarly to their city rivals Inter and stadium rivals Inter. Obviously, they play at the San Siro, both of them. AC finished 10th last year, which is just unheard of for a side like AC Milan. They brought in Carlos Bacca from Sevilla, Luis Adriano from Shakhtar. You've got Romagnoli there. He's coming from Roma, I believe, although I might be wrong. I think he's coming from Roma. He's definitely a promising youngster as well. And they made a couple of other signings that I can't quite remember, but I know that they have. Just their names escape me. With £29 million to spend as well. I did AC Milan on FIFA 14, and they were very good to play with. And And obviously they brought in Mario Balotelli as well on loan from Liverpool. So you're going to have enough players there to really put a challenge for Champions League spots, maybe even a title at a push if you can spend that £29 million. Well, Napoli underperformed last year. They finished 5th, so they've got Europa League football this season. Got Jose Pepe Reina back in between the sticks. They've got Sanchez at centre-back, obviously formerly of Tottenham. Still got Gonzalo Higuain up top with Jose Callejon sat behind him. Insigne still there. Dries Mertens is still there. Marek Hamsik is still there. Strong side. Christian Maggio at right-back. Can play at right-back or right side of midfield. Only a £20 million budget, which isn't much. And obviously, if you want to improve that, you could perhaps sell on Higuain or Mertens or Hamsik, etc. Although, obviously, you wouldn't necessarily want to sell your best players. But Napoli would definitely be pushing for Champions League spots in real life this year. Palermo were able to finish 11th last year in Serie A. Not the strongest of sides, but they had a good finish in the league, and obviously only a £6.5 million budget isn't the best for them to try and maintain or improve upon that position. But if you're good at FIFA with kind of mid-table sides, then Palermo could be a decent option, although obviously they've recently lost, although it was last year, Abel Hernandez, who went to Hull City. Roma finished 2nd in the league last year, only 1 point ahead of Lazio, and they were a full 17 points behind Juventus, but that's not necessarily a negative thing on Roma. It's more the fact that Juventus were just that good. They only lost 3 games all season. And Roma only lost 6 in fairness, but they did draw 13, which obviously they would like to rectify this year. Obviously brought in Iago Falque from Tottenham. You've got Zeko from Man City, Mohamed Salah from Chelsea. Still got De Rossi, Nainggolan and Pjanic there, as well as Strootman will be in the squad as well. Kostas Manolas is a solid centre-back. We're actually looking at him in a couple of other series we're doing. Brought in Wojciech Szczesny as well from Arsenal. Still got Gervinho, so the pace is still there out wide, most notably again with Salah. They don't have Ibarbo now. He's obviously gone to Watford on loan. I don't know whether Doumbia is still at the club. I think he's actually gone back on loan to CSKA Moscow, although I might be mistaken there. Again, you'll have to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but £24.5 million to spend for them. Decent budget, and you should do well with Roma. Sampdoria managed to finish mid-table as well, although 7th place is actually a very respectable finish for Sampdoria. You've got Eder. Luis Muriel is obviously the main striker of them. A lot of pace in his little legs. £7.5 million to spend. Fernando is the Fernando from Shakhtar, I believe. Brazilian holding mid who's quite young, good promising prospect, so should do well for you if you decide to be Sampdoria. Sassuolo obviously have Domenico Berardi as their most promising player. They've got Visalco as well, the right back. He's decent. Consigli is an okay goalkeeper as well. They finished 12th last year, level on points with Palermo. Only a £7 million budget for them though, and you could obviously improve that by sending on Berardi for quite a fee, but obviously you might want to keep hold of him because he is their best player. Moving on to the second side in Turin, it's Torino. Obviously, 2 years ago, they had Alessio Cerci and Ciro Immobile banging in the goals for them week in, week out and finished very high in the league. Last year, they were only able to manage a 9th place spot, but still got Fabio Quagliarella up top, obviously formerly of Juventus, good goal scorer. Glick is still there at centre-back, the Polish guy, not the fastest, but pretty strong physically. Aquara is a good centre-mid prospect as well, and with £10 million, you can definitely do some work in the transfer window for them. And I think Udinese are the last side they are. Di Natale continues to put off retirement and will continue to be a striker for the club for the foreseeable future. Obviously still got Danilo at centre-back, strong player. Badu is a good midfielder as well, obviously the Ghanaian. I think it's Mati Fernandez they've got a centre-mid there, although I might be wrong. Adnan is a decent left-back / left-mid as well, and with £12.5 million, it's a decent budget. Considering they finished 16th last year, £12.5 million is a really solid budget for a side that didn't finish that well. Karnizis is a good Greek goalkeeper as well, so there's definitely plenty of work that you could do with Udinese, perhaps push for the Champions League again like they were doing year in, year out a couple of years ago when obviously Alexis Sanchez was there before he moved to Barcelona and then obviously on to Arsenal subsequently after that. But that's going to bring this little update video to a close. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Like I say, check the channel page for any of the transfer budgets videos you've missed. Drop this video a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.